Hey, what's up, guys? Benji and Anthony here, and thank you for joining us on our Throwback Thursday here at TheB.A.R to review
Dead Poets Society. It came out in 1999 and directed by Peter Weir. Excellent film, showcases Robin Williams' acting chops.
Yeah, it's one of the... I haven't seen this movie, so it was actually pretty good seeing the film in the beginning. So let's jump into it, guys.
Dead Poets Society. I really enjoyed this film. This film is about the life of boys in 1950s New England. It's actually Harry Potter before Harry Potter, right?
Yeah.
That's what you told me earlier. I love this film. This is one of my favorite top 10 films of all times, and you just saw it. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Mm-hmm. In the 1950s, kids didn't really seem... Not kids, teenagers, well, younger people didn't have opinions. They weren't structured enough to give an opinion or choose. A lot of family members actually grew up like that. They were taught to say, you don't know your own good, I know your own good. Right. And I never liked that as a kid. I never liked that as I was growing up, and I still don't like that now.
It's kind of like children need to be seen, not heard, right?
Exactly. And it's something this movie really touches sensitive areas about that, from kind of just following orders to kind of exploding and becoming yourself, being free, doing your own things. Carpe Diem, one of the biggest known words in that, which is seize the day, is a big known factor around the world. And in this movie, I feel like that is how you're supposed to live every day. You're supposed to live it to a sense of,
to the fullest.
Exactly. Do something every day that just defines you. Do something that will change your life every single day, and never ever give that up. And this movie portrays that very well. Robin Williams is in it. He's my favorite actor of all time. Every movie I've seen with him, he plays the character very... He's himself, but he plays the character very well. Right. Mr. Keating, right?
Yep.
He engages you in the sense of how to be free. He's a poet teacher, or an English teacher that teaches poet to some of these kids in this, I forget what the school is called.
Elton.
Elton. It's more of a kind of like, I feel like it's like an army camp kind of school, kind of like something where you need to follow lines.
Like a boarding school or something?
Yeah, you go to learn about being a businessman. You don't go to do, art stuff. You don't do any of that. And this teacher's different. He actually graduated from the school, and he teaches you that that's not how you should live life. You should live life to what you want to believe, what you want to become, and
what makes you happy, right?
Exactly. And he actually says, if business school is what you want to do, then do it, but love it. Have passion for it. And he shows you that through poetry, which is something I personally would have never thought about. Personally, I'm not an English guy. I don't really like reading and poetry and all that, but I see where that freedom comes from in this time, how they use that Dead Poet Society, and how he engages these characters like Todd Anderson, Ethan Hawke, and Charlie Dalton,
played by Gail Hansen,
and Neil, which is another main character by Robert Sean.
Robert Sean Leonard. Yeah, we actually see more of Neil and his struggles with his father, Mr. Perry, played by Kurtwood Smith. Mr. Perry is one of the worst. Actually, it's the best representation of a bad father.
Which I don't think he has intentions of being a bad father. I think that's how he was raised. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of them, sadly, keep going from what they were.
Right.
And that just kind of portrays it. And I don't think he meant
then I shouldn't say bad father, right? Well, just a very strict, controlling father?
Exactly. It's something where it's this parent that thinks, I've been through it, I know what the problem is, and I want to make sure you don't make that issue, which I don't believe in that. I feel like you should of course, protect and love your family and kids, but let them make their own mistakes. Let them find their own freedom. And as long as it doesn't affect you in the sense of like wasting your money or, going out of your way, then fine. It's something where that it's not necessarily a bad parent, because he did care for the child. He did want him to succeed,
but it was very strict.
Exactly. In a very negative way, in the sense of, you do what I say because I know what's better for you. And that could be an issue, and that's where this movie really engaged me. It's something where Neil was a great character. Something that I told Anthony was, these kids are nerds, and that's not a bad thing. They're not geeks. It's smart. Like, that's a cool thing,
right?
Being smart. But there was 3 types. There was the cool nerd, isolated nerd, and the proud nerd. The cool one was Nawanda, which was Charles Dalton. He was more of the, I am a nerd, but I'm that cool nerd. I know how to be smart but cool at the same time. Gets the girl,
Yeah.
knows how to deal with it, the rebel kind of guy. With the isolated nerd with Ethan Hawke was the more quiet, kind of like he doesn't know how to feel proud of himself or how to speak up, which he grows.
And actually, not to interrupt you, but Ethan Hawke does an amazing job, but by being more cut back, more reserved, and yet he said so much.
And that's the thing, like that's where I feel like you see his progress with how Robin Williams. One of my favorite scenes in the movie was when he covered his eyes and does the poet and says the poem. Like he opens them up. That's why I love these teachers. Like it's very hard to find certain teachers that engage with the students and love that. And that's why I love Robin Williams' movie. He portrays that teacher that makes you care about going to the class, makes you care about what it is. And then, of course, you have the proud nerd, which is Neil. He was smart. He knew what he wanted to do. But because of the way his father kind of pushed him down all the time, he wasn't allowed to,
Right. He wasn't allowed to bloom or flourish.
Exactly. And that's where the reason the name is the Dead Poet Society is because these three guys plus a couple more, they made this society where they would go in a cave and read poetry.
And Robin Williams, Mr. Perry, was part of the Dead Poets, the original.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
so it was their kind of freedom from this army style school, kind of like their expression, the way to express themselves, which was weird to me, poetry as kind of like freedom and expression, but everybody has a kink. Like I find mine in different ways. And that was pretty cool how, they're doing trig. They're doing 20 chapters in one day. By Monday, you have to have an essay on them. They're being pushed to be these medical and business that they didn't really have expressional freedom. They weren't allowed to. They had a guard dog. Like that's where the Harry Potter thing came.
Oh yeah.
Like they had a guard dog to not leave at night. Like what kind of school does that?
Well, this is 1950s America.
Yeah, but then again, they are 17, so they're not in college. It's kind of like a high school, right?
Yeah, it's a preparatory school.
So that's the thing. To me, it was like that was cool how they went to cave and poetry set them free. It's something where they read it, they used the jazz. That was pretty cool, and that was to see the growth of all of them was amazing. But also sadly, it shows you reality of how someone
can be pushed to the edge,
to the point where they're not free, and the only way of freedom is sadly suicide. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, Neil Perry actually commits suicide towards the end of the movie, because that was his freedom.
Right. He wanted to be in a play, and his father did not allow him to be in a play. He said, no, you need to do, this, this, and this, because that will equal success. Not what you want to be happy, not what I want to be happy, but this is how it's going to be. And for him, he had to sneak around, and he got into the play, and he did an excellent job.
Amazing job.
You get to see A Midsummer's Night Dream, which is a Shakespearean play. And you get to see it in this movie, and he does an excellent job, and then tragedy happens.
Yeah, it's something where the point of the movie is to be free, to find your freedom, to find your Carpe Diem, how to seize the day every single day. And sadly, his freedom was to kill himself. It's kind of dark because when he laughed in that scene, he realized that this was his only freedom.
Right.
And this is the first time I saw that movie. And then when that happened, I was begging, like, don't do it, please. Because I never believed suicide is an option. But I understand. I get it. I understand why people do it. And sadly, the reasons why. It's just that they're so pushed down that happens. And it was a happy / sad moment. One, because he died, but two, because he's finally free. He doesn't have anything to worry about anymore. He doesn't have restrictions. He couldn't stand up to his father. And the proud moment of mine was like, oh, Captain, my Captain.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke stood up. Ethan Hawke, it's giving me chills right now thinking about it. He decided to finally open up and stand up and say, no, like I'm done with being this sheep, this herded sheep, and step up and be that black sheep and say, you were the reason we were open. You were the reason we were, and I almost cried. It brought tears to my eyes because of, sadly we lost Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And that made me proud. Like it showed the passion of these actors, of the scene. It was amazing.
This is why this is one of my favorite films. Not only is it beautifully shot and excellently, the group of kids, they actually do a good job. It feels like you're just watching their lives, it's not a movie for me. One of the things that I've always, coming from a writing background, is that I wanted to go to New England. I saw this movie in the late 80s, early 90s, and I thought, you know what? I need to go to Boston. I need to go to, Vermont. I need to experience this. And I did. And I went, one of my first trips was in the early 90s to Boston, and it's because of this film. I went to Harvard and I got to see all the academics and stuff. But it's a deep film. It's a very beautifully shot film, acted, and I actually recommend this movie to anyone.
Yeah, like I really do recommend.
Even like you coming from the gaming world, right? Who would have thought you would have loved a movie about writing?
Yeah, and it hits every spot. Like if you've ever been bullied, if you've ever been in a sense of stuck, if you ever felt like you didn't know what to do or like how to seize it, or if you were just that cool guy that knew what to do and was proud, like it gave you all of those sense in this movie, and it's a really good film. The one thing I told Anthony, I've always told everybody, is that I just don't like long films. It's something where it could be the greatest film of all time, but if it just drags, it's just not worth it to me. But I was okay. I was able to watch it. I was able to see it, and it didn't feel like 2 hours. It's an hour and 58 minutes. Not like that's including the credits and everything, but it was a good film, and I do recommend going to watch it.
Captain, my captain.
Sit down, Mr. Anderson.
So, Anthony, this is one of your top favorite films. What do you give the score?
Well, I have to actually say that this is the first time I've seen this movie as a reviewer. I usually just watch this movie for pleasure and nostalgia, but it's actually a perfect film. I give it a 10.
That's cool.
I'm surprised by my own grading, but yeah.
Yeah, mine's gonna be a little bit lower just because, of course, the length of it is just certain scenes. But it's an 8. It's still a great movie to go watch. In no way, shape, or form am I neglecting this movie. Like, it's something you need to watch because it makes you feel like seize the day, and that's what I really liked about the film. Hey, what's up, guys? Benji and Anthony here again, and thank you for joining us at TheB.A.R for the Dead Poet Society review.
Join us on Monday when we'll be reviewing the highly anticipated Arrival, this sci-fi hit that everyone's talking about lately.
Yeah, so far it's gotten pretty good scores, so we're actually really excited to go watch it. So hopefully you guys could join us for that. In the comments down below, let us know if you've seen Dead Poet Society and what you guys thought about it. What were the messages you got from the film on that? Also, maybe some of the Robin Williams films that you guys liked in the past.
Right. Don't forget to share this video with all your friends on social media, Facebook, Instagram. We're also on Tumblr.
Yeah. Also, guys, don't forget to give us a like on the video, a little thumbs up. That'll be cool. And also, don't forget to subscribe for other awesome videos. All right, guys, have a good one.